911 Season 8's mid-season premiere confirmed Eddie's relocation to Texas, but his exit is eerily similar to another departure from the procedural's past. Ryan Guzman's Eddie ended 911 Season 8, Episode 8 on the cliffhanger that he was considering moving to Texas, and Episode 9 sadly set it in stone. Often next to Eddie during every pivotal moment is Buck, played by mainstay of the 911 cast, Oliver Stark. Though Buck is still grappling with his feelings about Eddie leaving in 911, the mid-season premiere offered a unique resolution. Buck insisted he stay at Eddie's house while in Texas. While it's not necessarily the most heartwarming moment in 911, Buck's offer to live in Eddie's house to help him feel better about leaving is very sweet. Rather than worry about strangers occupying his living space, Eddie can leave the state knowing that his best friend is taking care of things. Buck's offer in 911 Season 8, Episode 9 is a choice made to give Eddie peace, but the implications are manifold when Eddie's exit is held up against the departure of 911 Season 1 star, Connie Britton. Buck staying in Eddie's house parallels his Abby storyline in 911 Season 2. There are striking narrative similarities. Eddie, Ryan Guzman, angrily pointing at Buck, Oliver Stark, in 911 Season 8, Episode 9. Developments surrounding Ryan Guzman's Eddie are strikingly similar to the circumstances surrounding the departure of Connie Britton, the first main actor to leave the 911 franchise. In the 911 Season 1 finale, Britton's character, Abby, travels Ireland and leaves Buck behind. Ironically, Eddie's first appearance in the series comes directly after Abby's exit, helping fill the hole she left behind. Though Abby is still gone, Buck stays at her place and insists she'll return. Throughout the season, his co-workers, friends, and family slowly help Buck realize that Abby isn't returning, and living in her house isn't going to change that. Now that his best friend is leaving for Texas, Buck living in Eddie's house directly parallels his first girlfriend in 911 abandoning him. Yet, there are still key differences that will set Buck's life in Eddie's house apart from his arc at Abby's house. For one, Buck was much younger and more naive when Abby left, meaning his denial of the circumstances stemmed from his unrelenting hope. Buck is still 9-1's greatest optimist, but he's had many harrowing experiences throughout the series that have taught him to accept harsh truths, including Eddie potentially never coming back. What Buck's previous Abby experience says about his future as Eddie leaves. Once again, he could be holding on to nothing. While Connie Britton has many roles after 911, Abby left Buck in a state of stagnation in 911 Season 2. Buck was so heartbroken that he couldn't confront the fact that he had been left for good by his girlfriend. Buck's backstory in 911 explains his abandonment issues well, but his storyline following Abby's exit hinted at his separation anxiety long before the procedural confirmed it. Although Buck has grown plenty over 9-1's 8 seasons, he is still fundamentally impacted by his loveless childhood, which contributed to his difficulty letting go of Abby and could easily manifest after Eddie's exit. 9-1 gave Eddie his own complicated feelings about leaving, infusing a more nuanced and bittersweet energy to the story that immediately sets him apart from Abby. It's also possible that, because Buck and Eddie are so close in 911, Buck might react completely differently to how he did with Abby. Rather than go into denial about Eddie leaving, Buck might resign himself to assuming that Eddie won't look back as a defense mechanism. Now that he'll be living in Eddie's house, however, it'll be much more difficult to escape any potential feelings of abandonment and loss following Eddie's move. Will Eddie follow in Abby's permanent exit footsteps in 911? The door is open for an LA return. Eddie at the station in 911 Season 8, Episode 9. While Abby and Buck had no contact following her exit, it's hard to imagine that Buck and Eddie won't at least video call every so often, especially considering how close Buck is to Gavin Mayhew's Christopher, Eddie's son, and the sole reason for going to Texas. Since Buck and Eddie will put in the work to maintain their relationship, it's possible that Eddie could return to LA and bring Christopher home with him in due time. It's impossible to predict how long that reconciliation will take, however. This means Eddie might be absent for many 911 episodes. 9-1 Season 8 already has an Eddie replacement lined up, but Eddie's presence will linger long after he leaves for Texas. Buck's own character development will be inextricably linked to Eddie for the rest of 911 Season 8, and living in his house will only exacerbate any inner turmoil Buck feels as a result of his best friend's departure. Even if Eddie returns promptly in 911, moving to Texas will impact Buck severely and likely bring back memories of Abby ghosting him.